Whether you're a Democrat or not, how can you impose democracy by killing millions of people? It's a dictatorship, not democracy. You can't impose it. Those who call themselves Democrats have seen scenes where people were prevented from joining assemblies. We've seen scenes where forces landed in assemblies to force deputies to take texts. We've seen more terrible scenes where people kill their demonstrators. But they call themselves Democrats, and we're called Perseus. If that's democracy, I repeat, we don't want this democracy. And when you see incompetence, they don't seek to know what the real meaning of the word democracy is. They cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics. That's incompetence. You have to know, look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa. Incompetence hides behind freedom. Remember, there is no individual freedom. It's a fact.
We sincerely and truly don't want that democracy. I also myself say I don't want that democracy. You say whatever you want to say, you speak whatever you want to speak, you do whatever you want to do, but I'm telling you again and again, that democracy, if democracy appears that way, if democracy acts that way, I really don't want that democracy. Ibrahim Traore does not want that democracy. Goita does not want that democracy. Abdurrahmani does not want that democracy. We don't want it. Keep your democracy for yourself. Have that democracy for yourself. Use it for yourself. We ourselves, we don't want it. And anything that Ibrahim Traore says no to it, African people, black people, we say no to it. Let me tell you something. We are following anything Ibrahim Traore says. If he says today, African people, I want you to go right, we shall go right. If he says today, I want all African people to migrate to Burkina Faso, we shall migrate to Burkina Faso. Now that he says no to that democracy, we don't want that democracy. You do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say, but that democracy, we don't want it. If democracy is killing people, if democracy is abducting people, if democracy is making people suffer, if democracy is stealing votes, if democracy is stealing public money, if democracy is doing corruption, if democracy is that greedy you're doing, live when we see, if democracy is supporting wrong things, if democracy is supporting Western powers, the imperialists and oppressors, we don't want it. Keep your democracy for yourself. Why should people keep on singing democracy, 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 democracy? What is democracy? Democracy of killing people because they're fighting for their rights? Kenyans went on the street to fight for their rights. They were fighting for their rights. They were fighting against the finance bill that was oppressing them. Finance bill that is taxing everything, taxing even sanitary towels, taxing even trust condoms, taxing even, like it is taxing everything. There are people in the village who cannot be able to afford these sanitary towels because they don't have money. They don't have nothing. They can't afford it. Girls. And you know how irritating it is when girls suffer because they cannot afford that sanitary towels. And people had to wake up. The Gen Zs, the youths of this country, had to wake up and go on the streets and fight because of what the government was doing. Taxing sanitary towels. Taxing things that aren't supposed even to be taxed. Taxing Pampers. Taxing everything. Raising, and youths had to go on the streets to fight for this finance, to fight against this finance bill that was oppressing them and that was killing them. And then the government had to go on and start killing the youths, asking the police officers to shoot them whenever they try to do demonstrations. And they were being shot live. Some of them were lying on the streets, bleeding because they've been shot. Some have been injured. And that is a country that is calling itself a democratic country. Which kind of a democracy is that? The government is stealing a lot of money. Kenya is amongst the countries that are leading in the IMF loans, amongst top countries that are having top loans in the IMF. That money is not developing a country. We cannot see roads in this country. We can't see medicines in the hospitals. We don't have vaccines in the hospitals in these countries. People, the low ground people who are promised to, they are going to be taken care of by the government by the Kenya Kwanza government, they are crying even today. Children are not going to school because there is no money to pay for their school fees. Okay, there is no food in this country. This country is in a very big crisis, and then you are telling me that you are a democratic country. A democratic country is a place where people cannot even afford 3 meals a day. They cannot be able to afford 3 meals a day. You're calling yourself a democratic country. Patients are dying in the hospitals because there is no medicines. There is no vaccines in hospital. Doctors have not been paid. They're striking every day. University teachers have not been paid. They're striking every day. University students are not going to school. You have raised the school fees of the universities. They cannot go to school. You're calling yourself a democratic country. And that is what Ibrahim Traore is saying. If that is the kind of democracy we are calling a democracy, if that is democracy, then we don't want that democracy. Even myself, I do not want it. And I'm telling you, every African people, be it from Africa, be it from Caribbean, be it from diaspora, when you stand them here and ask them, do you really support this democracy? They will tell you without fear of contradiction, we don't want that democracy. Democracy is a Western ideology. It's a hiding cave. It is something these people are using. They're hiding from it to oppress Africans. They're hiding from it to oppress people. Which kind of a democracy is this? People can no longer express themselves. In Kenya, when you criticize the government, you are abducted. You are taken to a place where nobody knows. You are pressed there. You are beaten up simply because you are fighting for your rights, simply because you are asking the government to do the right thing. And I love what Kenyans are doing. Right now, if you try to abduct anybody on the street, Kenyans will come up and beat you up and ask you where you are coming from, why are you taking this person, and where are you taking them? Kenyans are united. They are very united, especially the youths. They will come up in numbers. They will stop you with your Subaru car. They will beat you up. They will force you to say, who has sent you? Where are you taking these people, and why, and who are you? And that is the way forward. We are following the way of Ibrahim Traore. No more jokes around. No more impressing people who are oppressing us. Like, why should you impress a person who is oppressing you? No more impressing people who are oppressing us. No, we cannot do that. If that is democracy, we don't want that democracy. President William Ruto is the first person to say, we want a country that is democratic. We want to continue embracing democracy. And in the same country is the country where people are dying every day. Just the other year, a lot of people, like almost 25 or 28 people, they were extracted from a dam. People who had been killed. They've been killed. They've been cut into pieces. Can you imagine? Human beings cut into pieces. They've been placed in a sack. The sack has been tied. They've been thrown on a dam. And you're calling yourself a democratic country. Which kind of a democracy is that? This democracy we are seeing in Africa is a democracy, is an hiding cave. It's a bait, okay? They're using to come to Africa to oppress Africans. There is no democracy in Africa. Look at what Uganda is doing. People can no longer come out and go around and look for votes and campaign peacefully. They are beaten up by the government. They are taken to prison by the government. Kiza Besigye was here in Kenya. They came to take him from Kenya to Uganda. They are following him even in Kenya because he's amongst the opposition leaders who are trying to take out Museveni from the seat. You're telling me that's a country that is democratic? You're telling me there's democracy in Africa? Can you define to me, can you explain to me what democracy is? I thought democracy was supposed to embrace the rights of people. You can speak freely, you can air out your issues, you can tell the government how you want it to be, because when we talk about democracy, we are talking about power for the people. People have power. Not the government having power over people. People having power over the government. People speaking out the things they want the government to do for them. That is our democracy. In Uganda, Bobby Wine cannot do anything. Whenever he tries to campaign, he is locked up somewhere. He is like mistreated because he's trying to fight for the Ugandans. And you're calling that democracy. You are telling us that there is democracy in Kenya, in Africa. There is no country in Africa that is democratic. Any country that is a puppet, any country that their leaders are puppets, there is no democracy in that country. You want to lead a country for many years. Like the moment you become a president, you want to lead a country for a very long time. You want even to change the constitution so that it can favor you as a leader. You're calling that a democratic country? That's not democracy. Democracy cannot happen where abductions are everywhere, where abductions happen day and night. Democracy cannot be in a country where children are being killed, youths are being killed. Democracy cannot be in a country where you cannot express yourself. And I love what Kenyans are doing. Kenyans have become a hell of a thing, a hell of people to President Ruto. He is finding it so difficult to live or to deal with Kenyan youths. And it's not going to stop until this one comes to an end. Because Ibrahim Traore has taught us to be strong people. We cannot be afraid anymore. We shall fight to the last drop of our breath. That democracy, we don't want it. Take back your democracy. We want to lead ourselves and lead ourselves however we know it's best. Because the democracy that you brought to us, that we thought it's the best thing to go for and the best thing to go about, we have come to realize, and we have found out that it is the most dangerous thing that we can ever put close. It is the most dangerous thing, the most dangerous act, the most dangerous action we can ever take by embracing democracy. This so-called democracy of yours, no, we don't want it. Because, see, whatever Ibrahim Traore did to Burkina Faso by taking power through coup, it was not democratic. It was undemocratic. It wasn't a democratic way of acquiring power. Let's assume we are following democracy. Whatever Ibrahim Traore did to Burkina Faso, it was not a democratic way of acquiring power. Are we together up to there? Very good. Now, we have presidents here in Africa who took power in a democratic way. We have leaders in Kenya, in Africa, in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Libya, in Nigeria, in Angola, in Cameroon, in Morocco, in Mauritius, in Djibouti, in Rwanda, in Liberia, in Madagascar. We have leaders in Senegal. We have leaders in Guinea-Bissau, here in Africa. We have leaders in Southern Africa. We have leaders all over Africa who took power in a democratic way. But when we see the states of their countries, it is disguising, it is unspeakable, it is irritating, it is frustrating. These are countries where leaders, where people are suffering, people are crying, criticizing the government every day for the things that the government is doing to them. Okay? These are countries where leaders took power democratically, in a democratic way. These are countries that are calling themselves democratic countries. A country like Burkina Faso, a country like Mali and Niger are countries that took power through coup. They took power in a way that was not democratic. But these countries that went against democracy, talking of Niger, talking of Mali, and talking of Burkina Faso, they are the only countries where people are happy, where people are praising the government, where people are praising their presidents, where people are celebrating their presidents. Why are they celebrating their presidents? Because number one, their presidents have the interests of people, building hospitals, modern hospitals, so that people can be able to go to hospitals. People cannot be able to die because of diseases that they can be able to get cured. They are raising the economy of their countries. They are focusing on the poor and the poverty of the country. They are protecting their people. They are lowering and making sure that children are going to school. They are making sure that mothers, they are finding food to be able to feed their children. They are making life better for the people of their country. But these countries are the countries that took power undemocratically, in a way that was not democratic. So would you rather support democracy that is not democracy, or a democracy that is or a country that did not follow democracy, but it is doing well? Let us not follow democracy. Let us follow the right way of doing things. Because democracy, without helping people, it is nothing. Democracy and your people are crying, it is nothing. Democracy and people are dying in your country, it is nothing. The aim of a leader is to help his people, whether with or without democracy. So what we are saying is that democracy, we don't want it. Keep your democracy, stay with your democracy, and have it yourself. This democracy that is just in the picture and in the books, but the real thing is not there. If democracy would really be the democracy, France would not be forcing to stay in Africa. They will have respected our decisions by asking them to leave, and they go and feel good. We don't want that democracy. Keep that democracy for yourself. At the end of the day, that's my opinion. Do let me know what you have to say on the comment section. Personally, me, together with Ibrahim TRAORE, together with other Africans that I know, we don't want that democracy. Keep it for yourself. Do let me know what you have to say in the comment section. I'll do my best to read all the comments and reply where possible. Thank you so much for tuning in. On to the next. African people from diaspora, from Caribbean, from Africa, I love you so much. You guys are best people I've ever seen. Africa ni nyumbani, and everything that concerns Africa concerns me and you as Africans. Adios, guys.